guys. I was thinking this might be a really good time for us to talk about the different groups of builders who are working on the world, because it's a lot of fun and I really want to share this with you guys so that you can kind of get to know them a little bit too. So the first group I want to talk about are these amazing, really big guys who have like long white hair, and they either wear like a long white robe or sometimes they wear, I think, a colored robe, but all I can really see is in black and white, so it's hard for me to tell if their robes are a color or not. But there seems to be like two different categories of them. One category I would classify, when you see them outright, I would classify them as being angels, what we would think of as angels. Now, they don't have wings that I have seen, but they were part of the transformation crew. So the ones who would come in and they would make the angel over top of me, they would make the wings. They were part of that group. One of them, I gave him the nickname Beautiful because he really is. I mean, he's just a very handsome guy, and they kind of glow, like their hair is kind of outlined. When I look at them through my regular eyes, that's what they look like. Now, the other group is really interesting. I mean, they are very cool. They were part of the initial group that came in. And when I see them with my regular eyes, I see them as clouds, like white, fluffy kind of clouds, but of course the clouds are in a shape. They're the ones I think that were looking a lot like dogs and different beings when they were coming in. I think that's them. I think it's the same ones. And they are fascinating. They have got so many cool things about them. Like, they act as like a rest chamber or a transport carrier for a lot of them. Some of them have a hole that opens up in their hair on the side, and I look in and I see the other ones. Normally it looks to me like they're on the smaller side as far as the groups are concerned, the ones that are inside the chamber. And I don't know if you remember, but initially when all this started, one of the things about them that was so cool is they would, like, if anybody was acting up, some of the silly ones, they would come and like put them in their mouth. And when they would take the fourth out, sometimes they would like suck them in and take them all out. It was wild. So I don't know how that works. Of course, we're going to have a lot to learn, right? We're going to have a lot of new stuff to discover. And I guess this is just going to be one of those things that we're going to eventually figure out how this works. But also their mouth. Sometimes they will open their mouth, and most people might be like, oh, me, I'm like, what you got there? So they open their mouth so that I can see the ones that are in there, in their little chamber inside. And now, because it is so jam-packed, I'm guessing that the big tall guys, that they are holding a lot, because they do show me some that they're holding periodically. It's really cool. So with these big guys, like I said, there seems to be at least two different kinds of groups of them. One of them, the ones that are outlined that look more angelic, I guess, they're very stoic. They're very stoic. And they're very good too about not looking at me. I know it sounds silly, right? Like, why don't you want them to look at you? I'd love for them to look at me. But the problem is that I have so much love energy. I guess that's my guess anyhow, is that I have so much of this love energy naturally. I love them so much, and they can feel it. And if they look at me, and if we make eye contact, I mean, now it's like if we make eye contact just for a brief moment, boom, they start letting their plasma go. And I just don't know how to stop that. So I'm working on some things. I tried Mylar, the emergency blankets. I tried Mylar. I tried the glasses, which I didn't really have a whole lot of hope in them, but I'm just trying anything I can think of. And I have a small little sheet of EMF material that I'm going to try, because I figure it blocks energy. So I'm looking for I'm trying to find things that would block energy so that I don't affect them so much. But I really do. I mean, just at a glance now, and they lose their plasma. I feel so bad about that. So some of these guys, I think they might be Lyran descent. And the reason why I say that is because they have very long canines and their bottom teeth. They have some very long bottom teeth too. They don't, to me, they don't appear feline at all. I mean, nothing at all. Lyran, in case you don't know, is a group of people. I forget where they originated. I think the Pleiades, but their planet was taken over a very, very long time ago. And so they ended up being refugees. And they eventually settled in the Andromeda galaxy. And there was a planet there that was terraformed so that they could inhabit that planet, along with other people as well. And these guys, I don't know that they're of Lyran descent, that kind of, and sometimes they'll hiss. So, like, like a cat would. I mean, I don't know if that's connected, but that's just what I have seen from them. And there was one guy who came one time who looked like a strobe light. And I looked over him and I couldn't really see him, but I asked him, I said, are you a person over there? And I guess he was able to bring his vibration down enough to show me. And I was just blown away. I mean, he had like, oh, look, I got paint. His skin was like this color brown, like a light kind of chocolate brown. And his hair was like a dark brown. And he had the feline nose bridge. I mean, very distinct looking, and oh my goodness, I mean, it was just this love that emanated from him. I mean, it was an amazing experience, really. I hadn't expected anything so profound, but there he was. He was just amazing. So it does kind of lend a little bit of credit to the potential that they could be Lyran and I would have to say in ancestry. Now, apparently there's also a race that lives on that planet that are avian. So it kind of makes me think about those wings. So anyhow, I asked the guys one night if they were Lyran descendants, and they all smiled like very broadly. Like, I don't think they understand what I'm saying, but I think that they understood that word, and so they smiled in response to that word, and that was just an unusual behavior for them. They are not, negative or mean or anything like that. Not at all. But they're just kind of neutral because, again, they kind of have to be, because here I am, this little, happy, silly, loving fool who keeps causing their plasma to pop, so they can't really look at me. They can't really, do any of that. So I did stand up next to one of them, and I was standing in my room. Space is distorted. Sizes are distorted. They can change their sizes when they come and go from the outside world into the anchor building. But I was standing on my floor, and it looked, from what I could tell, like he was standing on the same level. And I'm 5'7", and I was looking up to him pretty far. So I would say, if I had to guess, I would say somewhere in the 7-foot range. He was, really tall. But now, that being said, they do all kinds of weird stuff. Like, I have seen them. This took me a while to get used to. I've seen them walking in my room, and like half their body is underneath the floor and the other half is above. Well, that was before the world was completed. And even before the anchor building was completed, before all of that. So they're in another realm, another dimension. So it makes sense that sometimes they wouldn't be on the same level of physicality that I am. When they come and go, sometimes I will see them at the curtain. There's like a great big curtain that they have, and that's where people come and go from. And I will see them outside that curtain, and they look huge. I mean, like, huge. They really do. And I've seen them come in and all of a sudden shrink down to a small size in order to fit inside the anchor building. And these guys who look like they could be Lyran, and the other guys who also have the long white hair and wear the long robes. I think they are also very tall, because it seems when I see them sitting in the benches with the other ones, it seems like they don't really have a whole lot of room. They're kind of, kind of like up on the edge of this seat. They fill up that whole space, because there's like, I can't help thinking of church pews, but that's what it reminds me of, is that they're just like church pews everywhere where they are, and they just sit on these pews. Now, these whole pews move as a section. They rock back and forth. They do all kinds of stuff. They even will like convert into something that has tracks on it, so that they go out into the world on tracks. I haven't been able to see very much of the world, so I can't really tell you, other than I saw a dirt path coming from one of the doors one day, and there was a tree branch that was hanging down, and there was sun, and there was foliage, I could see off in the distance, green looking stuff that looked like, it could have been trees or bushes or whatever. And like I said, it was a dirt path from that door, and I don't know how far it led, because I could only see that little bit. So those are the big guys with the long white hair and the long robes, and they are working so very hard. I mean, it's amazing to see them. Okay, so that covers it for those guys. So I'll try to make a video for every one of these different ones, and so that you guys can get to know them. Okay, I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.